This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good evening, Brian. It seems like we were here before.
Hey, I tell you what, we've been on this road before. I tell you that.
Yeah. We were mentioning before the show, a lot of things going on in the NFL.
A lot of things.
A lot of teams that are playing to their level, that expectations, and some teams that are not, and some teams and that are playing above what everybody anticipated. And
Exactly. So, the first week, you throw out, you throw 0-1. Some teams started 0-1 that we thought we were going to win, but you throw that week out. Now we're into week 2. So some good things happen. I mean, it was some good games this weekend, excitement. What I love about the NFL, you got all professional football players out there on that football field.
That's true. So we can really hit into it and talk about some of the games last week. And we'll start off with the New York Football Jets against Cleveland. New York is down 21 points. Hey, what's up, my man Jason?
Jason, last week, man, I was going to give you a big hooray or whatever. And then last night, I mean, when the Eagles played the Vikings, man.
Well, you got to remember, Kirk Cousins was doing Kirk Cousins things.
So, hey, as soon as I saw Kirk Cousins throw a couple of passes, I say, I don't know, Jeffcoat, he might be saying something bad about Kirk Cousins tomorrow night. I don't know.
Kirk saw that some guys can play when the stars are shining bright and the lights. When those lights, some guys can't do it, and Kirk Cousins is one of them. He puckers up. And gets nervous.
Well, and one thing that some of these teams got to learn how to do is win and play good football on the road.
That's true.
They play good at home, but you got to be consistently playing good football away and at home.
And Jalen Hurts is proving all the critics wrong.
Yeah.
He's doing everything to win. He's running well. He's throwing the ball well. The kid's a coach's kid. I know his dad, and I know that kid has been taught the right way to play football.
Yeah, and I think this year in the offseason, some of the preparation that he did, some of the things, some of the people, places he visited, some of the people he spoke to, I think have really matured him, and I think now he's playing with the confidence.
Yeah, and he's a student of the game, too.
Yeah.
He's going to find ways to beat you, and that's what he's doing. And he has a talented offense. Let's give him credit. And the defense is playing well for Philadelphia right now. I mean, when you talk about Minnesota, after what Minnesota did against Green Bay, and then to come in and do what they did, have that done to them. I mean, you thought Justin Jefferson was going to be the MVP after that first game.
Exactly, man. They couldn't get him the ball this game. And I just, the timing was off. I mean, they were playing frustrated. It just seemed like, they were missing the beat. But you got to give credit to those Eagles.
Yeah, and a frustrating thing for players on Minnesota is Dalvin Cook. They're not utilizing Dalvin Cook. He had, I think he only had 7 receptions for 37 yards, but he didn't really run the ball. I mean,
that's what the good coaches come in. You got to make those quick game decisions and changes and alter your game plan, because you got to take what the defense give you, and you got to create multiple sets of different personnel. I mean, see, like, to me, they just trying to force the ball, and it was predictable.
Exactly.
And the Eagles ready for him.
Yeah, you didn't hear anything about Thielen. You didn't hear anything about the tight. You didn't really hear about anybody except Justin Jefferson, and Slay took him out of the game.
Yeah,
Slay eliminated.
Slay played a heck of a game. He could have easily got 3 interceptions easily.
Oh yeah. There's no question.
Yeah,
no question. So you got to give him credit on that. Another game that was kind of shocking was Washington at Detroit. You picked Detroit. I thought Washington would have given him a better chance. It was 36-27, but it wasn't really that close. Carson Wentz is a lot like Kirk Cousins. He does Carson Wentz things.
Yeah.
When the big games come or the tough opponents, he's going to struggle. He threw
and in that game, Detroit controlled the whole game the whole time. They came back at the end and made it a lot closer, but from start to finish, Detroit was in command, and they playing good football. They played good football. Now that's one of the teams that I'm talking about. How can they play away from Detroit? Their first 2 games at home.
Yeah,
and hopefully they can be consistently in that play because Dan Campbell got them going.
Yeah. And this Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
He led them in rushing with 68 yards, and he led them in passing, receiving with 118 yards.
Right.
116, excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. He's a second-year player out of USC.
Yeah, and he's getting better with repetition and game time situation, and that's really good for them because they need a player to come in and make an impact, and they need a receiver to step up because that was kind of what they were missing first game against the Eagles.
That's true, and I picked him on my fantasy. I picked him up off of waivers on my fantasy team. I needed him. I'm struggling.
You needed some help.
I needed some help.
Yeah, you needed some help.
I set some of those guys. I had Hunter Renfrow on my fantasy team, and it didn't turn out good. It didn't. He had a chance to help them win the game, and he lost 2 fumbles in overtime, 2 of them. So, that's it. And on the Tampa Bay, New Orleans, I watched that game. That was a good game.
I watched that game as well.
It was a good game, but here was the interesting thing. When Mike Evans got in a fight with Marcus Lattimore, that game was close. And then Tampa blew it open after that fight. When they kicked I don't know why they kicked Lattimore out.
He was talking the whole time, and that's his game. He tried to take the receivers out of the game. Mike Evans, he was frustrated. And then Tom Brady had a statement, and then Bruce Arians had something to say on the sideline. Bruce Arians,
he was ready to go to blows. That's
Bruce Arians,
that's their jersey in him.
And they said that they want to really fine Bruce for being on the sideline.
He's
been up in the press box a couple of games as well.
Yeah, but he said they didn't have a spot for him and the GM Jason Leach in the press box. But the Saints said, no, that's not true. We did. We had it in the press area. So
yeah. But the good thing about that game was they hate each other.
Yeah.
And they go to war. They go to war. So this was the first time that Tampa beat them in the last 4 games. So they finally got a win. And but hey, I can just see. I'm gonna mark an X by the game. When New Orleans go down to Tampa Bay, it's gonna be war.
Now that Jameson Winston has back. He couldn't practice today because of his back.
Yeah, they need to set his butt down. If they say he got some vertebrae problems or something in his back.
Wow.
But man, he's out there playing with pain, and it really showed that he's not really accurate with the ball.
Yeah. But it's the interesting thing is you see a guy you're playing against 45 years old. You don't ever hear about him being hurt.
No.
But you got a guy Jameson is obviously a lot younger than Tom Brady, and he's already banged up. And I know it's offensive lines and schemes and everything, but you got to get rid of that ball, son. You got to get rid of the hit.
Yeah, he held the ball too long. And he got some good receivers. And Olave, wide receiver. He on and off. He's not there yet, but he's a young player.
Yeah, he had 80 yards.
Yeah,
and then
he dropped a couple of balls too, though. He could have had easily over 100.
Yeah, no question. And then let's talk a little bit about your team, the 2-0 New York Giants.
Hey,
this is an interesting team, and from that I say the reason I say that is because they are not that good offensively. Wink Martindale has that defense playing. He's going to lose Leonard Williams this week. Leonard Williams won't be playing, but Wink Martin got him coming, and they're keeping the game close. So
that's
it's going
the
to
way you play defense. You play defense. You have to mix it up. Different personnel set. They're playing error-free football, flying to the ball.
Yeah.
Creating turnovers. Those are the things that you want.
Oh yeah.
And now New York look like their old self when Lawrence Taylor and those guys play.
Easy now. We still got 15 more games. I didn't see no Lawrence Taylor out there.
Well, I'm just excited. That they playing team ball.
They are playing team ball. And I'm gonna tell you things. Saquon Barkley didn't have a game like he did in the first game, but Daniel Jones is doing things such as he threw for 176 yards. People said, well, that's not a big deal. But he is not killing his team. And he's mobile enough to get out of trouble. Because I saw him run some, scramble some and make some plays where he had an opportunity, and later on before that, he would have made a mistake in there. He's playing under control.
Yeah. But the main thing when you don't give the other team a chance to come back and win, and you don't make the mental mistakes, and you don't turn the ball over, that's the key. That's the key component for you to win.
Exactly. They're playing it close to the vest.
Yeah.
They're playing it close. They're playing, which is people say they're playing. They're not playing like Buffalo. They're playing like Baltimore. Yeah. For the most part. Keep it close to the vet and don't kill yourself. Put the defense makes plays, and they keep the whole game where you can win it.
Saquon had 72 yards on 21 carries.
Yep. And Christian McCaffrey had 102 yards, but the highest, the receiving leader was only 51 yards with Richie James.
Yeah, Richie James, number 80, came over from the 49ers. Yeah.
Yep. And he was the leader of the offense. I mean, so you see what they're doing. They're smart.
Yeah.
They don't have great talent yet. They have in certain positions, but they're utilizing their talent to win games. And then you got to give them credit. They play that team from Texas next Sunday.
Well, this is what I'm going to say about Daniel Jones. He was 22 or 24, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, but 0 interceptions.
That's
right. Last year, he would have had 1 or 2 interceptions, or might have had a fumble in the back. Right. And so that's what's good. Getting the ball out and playing a multiple set of opportunity football, meaning that you're not predictable. And then when you get to the sideline, the coaches are excited.
Yeah. Yep.
You ain't got coaches all in your face, fussing at you, telling that you made a mistake out there on the football field. You want to get to the sideline, get refreshed, get reinvigorated, and get excited about going back out there and making things happen.
Yeah, no question. And that's it. And you got to give them credit. It's going to be a good game. Let's talk about, we'll get to Dallas.
Yeah, we ain't talking about the Cowboys yet because they going up to.
Because I got a lot of things to say about them.
They going up to MetLife, and you know what?
Oh, I love MetLife.
We gonna put some blue and red all over them.
Oh, whatever.
All over those silver
Let's talk about them Cowboys. Let's talk about them Cowboys.
Well, let me tell you something.
Hey, they were putting dirt on the grave. They were putting dirt on the grave. It was over.
Cooper Rush all week long. They didn't know what they were going to get out of him.
No.
And then at the end of the game, it was so many people on that bandwagon, it broke the whole stadium down.
Shoot. They broke a wheel because so many people jumped on the bandwagon.
But you know what? Really, I was happy for Cooper. I was happy for Cooper Rush because, they were saying, no, I don't know if he'll be able to do it either. But you know what? They had a good game plan for him. I could say Kevin Moore had a good offensive plan of action for him as well. Yeah. And they didn't try to do too much. He didn't force the ball nowhere. And but I have to give him credit. Jerry Jones was happy this week. So
yeah, I'm gonna tell you who's interesting. He's not there yet, but he's gonna be a pretty good player. Is that Tyler Smith? I thought he would be a holding call waiting to happen every play.
He played well. He played well, but week in and week out, we ain't gonna put him on the pedestal yet.
No. It's one game. It's one game. You got 15 more. And that's how I look at it. But there were some things that helped him. Obviously, Micah Parsons, he's the only player in the NFL to have 17 sacks in 18 games.
That's impressive. That is impressive.
Yeah. He blew my record out of the books. I had 15 in my first 2 years, and he just blew that out of the books.
Yeah, he got what? He got 16 more weeks for the season over with.
Yeah. But I tell you who is interesting.
You know what I see about Michael Parsons, though? Dan Quinn is moving him around.
He has to.
And he can run from sideline to sideline. He's freelancing. And he is, he can pick gaps and he can delay blitz. I mean, if you look at him being able to play the way he's playing, he's going to have a lot of more sacks. That guy's so exciting. He's excited.
Oh, yeah. Now, here's the interesting thing. I thought Trayvon Diggs, because Jamar Chase came out, which was his biggest mistake, came out and said before the game that Trayvon Diggs is not fundamentally sound. You never get your guy motivated. You go in there and know what you think in your mind, but you never put it out in the press. For he's like reading this, what the heck?
That's a bad thing to do. That's a bad thing to do when you got an all-pro cornerback.
That's right. And Chase only had
a year last year.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. You gave him some ammunition to come out there to get at you.
Oh, yeah. Chase only had two receptions the whole game.
Right.
So you can't do that. You can't do that.
You can't be talking in this game of football, in the National Football League, because you one play away from getting your head handed to you.
Yeah, and I think Joe Burrows is still a tremendous quarterback, but what I worry about is his health. He's been sacked 13 times in 2 games.
They hadn't fixed that offensive line problem yet. I mean, it's 2 years in a row.
And if you watch the game, like I said, I was there. Laurel Collins had hip surgery. And you can see that that's really messed him up with Collins. He can't even turn his hips.
No, he's not well. He's not the same player that he was last year.
No, and that's going to be interesting because I thought that Mixon had let me look here. Mixon had 57 yards, but I thought that was going to. I'm not convinced that the Cowboys are very good in their interior. On their edges, they're good. It's their interior. And they have to uphold for Saquon running downfield. Downhill and stuff like that. So I'm not going to say that I'm going to wait on that one, but it's going to be a good game. I think when we play in New York, everybody loves to play in New York. I love playing tonight in New York. I got pumped up because everybody watches you in New York.
Well, I'm going to tell you
now. It's really not New Jersey. I should say New Jersey.
And I'm going to tell you now, we're going to be wearing some cowboy boots and some Spurs, and we're going to be kicking butt up there in the midline.
You're going to get butt kicked because we own it, We're
going to be riding these horses like this.
That's our stadium.
You know what that means? They're going to be Saquon. They're going to be going across that goal line. I'm going to be riding that horse just like this.
What did Aaron Rodgers say?
Get him up.
What did Aaron Rodgers say?
I don't know what Aaron Rodgers say.
We own you. We own New York. We own New York. We're in that New York state of mind.
We really don't want a lot of games down here in Texas, AT&T Stadium. We have the Giants. You look the record up. Look the record up.
Well, I will. We don't have a losing record against anybody.
That'll be your assignment this week. That'll be your assignment.
Yeah, I will look that up. But it's gonna be a good game.
It's a Monday night game.
It's a Sunday night.
Sunday night game. Yeah.
But here's an interesting game. The New York Patriots at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. I thought Pittsburgh would win that game.
Well,
we underestimated them losing T.J. Watts.
Well, T.J. Watts is a big thing, and now they're talking about changing out the quarterback. That's the subject line this week. because Mitch ain't doing Mitch. He couldn't pull a string this week. He missed some open receivers. He missed some throwing that ball in that gap, and so now the pressure's on him.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, it was a tight. There's another one. Tight game, 17-14. Mac Jones throws for 252 yards. Damon Harris runs for 71 yards. And name we haven't heard in a long time, Nelson Aguilar. He gets 110 yards receptions. So, yeah, they did it. And that's what I think teams that don't have the offensive firepower are trying to do. Keep the game tight, and that's how they're going to win games. So, but you got to give it. I thought Pittsburgh was going to win that game.
I thought Pittsburgh was going to win too. Coming out of the opening week, with some momentum, but the Patriots, man, they got great linebacker play. They made some things happen. They put pressure on Mitch, and you can see that. They playing at home. That don't seem like what the Steelers normally do when they play at home. You're right. They seem like they was in la la land.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this when, and we'll talk about it on the next game. But is the Steelers? They got, like you said, with the quarterback Trubisky, and they got to figure out what he does best. Mac Jones is established. And we didn't even know if Mac Jones was going to play this week.
Well, the good thing about playing the Patriots, they're not going to make a lot of mistakes. They well coached.
That is.
And so when you play the Patriots, you better play an error-free football game and don't have no room for mistakes. So, but two, I'm thinking that Steelers fans, man, they have some of the best fans, but they couldn't even can't get them over the hump at home.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's true. Now, here is the most shocking game of the day. I picked it. Jacksonville 24, Indianapolis nothing. Wow. But here's the thing that's interesting. You picked Indianapolis to win the division. I picked Tennessee. Both of them are 0-2. The teams, Jacksonville and the Texans, are tied for the lead.
No.
AFC South.
The Colts are 0-1-1. They tied.
Oh, that's right. Against and the same with the Texans.
Yeah.
They played the Texans. So you're correct.
Yeah.
They're 0-1-1, both of them.
But check this out. Matt Ryan threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah. I'm not a big Matt Ryan fan.
That's not gonna get it done. I can see Jim Irsay cleaning house mid-season if they continue to lose games. You
think so?
It could happen.
Oh, wow.
You got the best running back, one of the best running backs in the league, and you can't get it going. I mean, you didn't score a point. I mean, it was 7-0 first quarter. They scored 10 more points second quarter. I'm talking about Jacksonville. They scored another touchdown third quarter. They didn't score not one quarter, not even a field goal.
Yeah.
That's a no-no in the NFL.
But let's be honest about Jacksonville. Their problem was coaching. It was never talent.
They have had a lot of first-round draft choices than anybody else in the league.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you're right.
Well, it was more coaching than talent because you got Trevor Lawrence. You got every position. You got Christian Kirk from Arizona, and he's leading them in catches.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things like that. Lawrence threw for 235 yards. James Robinson doing things right now.
Yeah.
Or like my dad would say, he's doing things. A little Jamaican in there. So, but I mean, they're playing good. You got to give them credit on that. And
you really do. You know, I'm proud because Doug Peterson me and him was together in '91. We was up in New York, New Jersey in the World League. Okay. And he was one of my quarterbacks. He was one of the quarterbacks so me and him go way back. But what I love about Doug Peterson, man, he's a player coach.
Yeah.
And he's decided he's bringing he brings excitement into that locker room, and he's not a guy that's gonna be talking negativity. He's upbeat about everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Jacksonville needed.
And here was interesting. I don't know if you read this about what he did. When Tom Coughlin was there, they had ping pong tables and pool tables. He took them out. And then they got him back with the coach after Tom Coughlin. And then Urban Myers did the same thing. He took the ping pong tables and pool tables out. And then Doug Peterson comes in and he puts them back in.
Well, this is one of the things people got to realize. You got to get the players excited about practice, being at the stadium, and inserting your game plan, putting your strategy in. You got to have them all in. You can't have them, being whipped and feel like they're being pressured and being forced. You want a good environment, and that's what you're creating. And so I can see that happening. Now they're excited about playing a game of football.
Well, here's an interesting thing that you can do, and they do this in college a lot now. They put in video games, they put in all these things. And the reason people think they do it for the kids to have fun, that keeps the kids
engaged. Keep them engaged.
And keeps them out of trouble.
Yeah. Let me tell you one of the things that when I went to the Giants, guess what Lawrence Taylor did when we had break? He went out there, we had this net, and he hit the golf ball. That's why he could drive 300-some yards. And he can hit that ball. He actually had, I was saying, how he have this golf ball? He was actually getting his golf game together on his spare time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, that's what's important about watching our show. You never know what you're going to hear.
That's right. That's shocking because as soon as this is over, I'm going to have to hit my golf balls before it gets too dark.
I got to see that video that I did.
Whatever. That's a
good page. I got to put that out there.
New clubs. I got me some new clubs. Shoot. I'm in work. I'm about to put in work.
Well, I played in 3 tournaments last week. I
know it must be nice.
I thought I had won 2 of them, but I came in second.
You were close. And the only thing you close that counts is in horseshoes.
I hear you.
Hey, next game is Miami and Baltimore. This blew my mind. I thought Lamar Jackson, he did run for 119 yards. I thought they were going to kill Miami. And Miami storming. When I looked at that game, I had to go, obviously, the Cowboys game. I thought, Miami, they're going to lose this game. Mike McDonald, I think that's his name, Mike McDaniels.
Yeah, Mike Daniels.
He's in running. If they keep it up like this, they're going to be it's going to be tough because they play Buffalo next week.
This is what I was talking about Tua. I was talking about this. I said, Tua to prove me completely wrong.
469 yards passing.
6 touchdowns.
Yep.
Man.
Waddle. Your boy Jalen Waddle and Tariq. Maybe we got this wrong.
Tyreek had 190 yards. 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, 100.
While my boy Jalen had 171 yards.
Ooh.
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
Now, it's hardly ever you see 2 receivers getting over 150 yards in the game.
Yeah.
Hardly ever.
Buffalo has Gabriel Davis coming back this week. And we all know they got Diggs.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting game from the standpoint. Shoot, it just might be 50 to 46, 50 to 56, that kind of game. Because this is incredible. Yeah,
because they go to Miami. Buffalo go to Miami, don't they?
Yeah, Miami's a hard. Do you think the weather affected Baltimore?
I think some. I don't know what Baltimore is not in. I don't think a lot of their players played in preseason. I think a lot of their players is not in quite football shape because they start off killing them. Then the second half, at the end of the game, all the air went out of them.
Yeah. And then playing in Miami, first you got to deal with the heat, then you got to deal with the humidity. Yeah. And it's a tough place to play in Miami. And I'm wondering because, there is true – you talk about what we talked about with New Orleans and Tampa Bay. There is true hate with Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, it is true hate.
But I thought the Ravens was at home.
Oh, that's right. They were.
Yeah, the Ravens was at home.
That's true. That is true.
They came back and just whooped the socks off of them.
You're right. Because Miami was at Baltimore.
Yeah.
And Tua, 469 yards. Just to Waddle and Tyreek, hey, don't worry about it. I'm gonna throw it as far as I can. Just go get it.
And I tell you, that last touchdown that threw the Waller was, man. That was a nice catch in the end zone. Yeah. It was. He put it where he had to put it.
Yeah. But their top DB for Miami's out this week. Zayden Howard, he's probably gonna be out. So
I hadn't heard that much from Byron Jones down there.
No, I haven't heard anything either.
Yeah, he got paid when he left Dallas, and I know he was hurt a little bit during some of the season last year. But the other guy's the main cornerback down there. You just mentioned
42-38. That's a lot of points. And you're right. It was. I apologize. It was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is still there, but now Lamar Jackson's right arm was in a something today, sleeve. He didn't throw today because he might have hurt his right arm.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson had 69 rushes, I think 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. He had a heck of a game. I mean, he trying to work on that contract. So
yeah, he had 119 yards rushing too.
Yeah. He's the only quarterback to put up those types of numbers. You know.
And Dobbins comes back this week, but I tried to recruit Dobbins. That was a shit. J.K. Dobbins was. I mean, he was out there. And
he had a knee problem, didn't he? Some type of knee. Yeah,
but he was something special in high school.
Man, he's a go-getter, man. If he stay healthy, if he can get healthy, man, they gonna have that running back they need in that backfield.
Yeah, Duvernay is having a heck of a year. But Devin.
Yeah, he ran a kickoff back, didn't he? At the first part of the game.
Yeah, and he was the California. He was the Texas 100 meters champion.
That's right.
He has a twin brother because I recruited him too out of Saxon, which is here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I knew about him. Yeah,
Duvernay, that boy can run. He got some jets.
Yeah.
He'll take a kickoff back on you in a minute.
Yes.
Now it was an interesting game with the Jets. What do you think about the Jets and the Cleveland Browns?
The Jets and the Cleveland Browns, there was another one where Cleveland had that game under control and everybody talked about their defense, but the Jets dismantled their defense at the end of the game.
When Nick Chubb said he cost them the game.
Yeah.
Instead of scoring a touchdown,
it should have went down.
Yeah, it should have went down. Yeah. I think that's a good learning point for a lot of young players. You know, I know you're excited about scoring, but you know that's when the team concept come into play. You know, they can't beat you. You know, Buffalo Bills was a good example from last year when they played Kansas City. You know, you got to be smart about field position and game condition and all that other stuff that factor into, hey, the game's out of control. Don't give this team another chance. And that's what the Browns did with the Jets.
It was interesting that we saw that happen because I don't know if Bill did it when he was with you guys at the Giants, but at the Cowboys, he would practice that on Fridays. Situations like that don't normally come up where he'd say it's so many seconds left in the game and they're down by a certain amount of points. And he tell the defense, don't tackle, and to see if the running back understands, or wide receiver, to go down and run the clock out instead of score.
Yeah.
So he would practice those unusual situations.
We did that every Friday, right before we game type situation.
Yes.
Down in distance. You know, you have to practice those. I don't know how many coaches in this day and time does that, but we did that. It was part of our weekly practice. Game preparation.
Yeah, it's game, and I thought that was interesting because Chubbs was but the defense was the most disappointing thing about Cleveland because they were up by quite a bit, and they didn't. And they let the Jets come back, and so.
So let me ask you this, then, Jim. So you defensive-minded person. When the momentum switches and change, you know, do the defense become more aware of that, or your offense is more encouraged and inspired to, you know?
I think the offense becomes more inspired, but usually what normally happens is you're playing cautious. And here's the thing I learned from actually with Jimmy Johnson, and we were playing the Jets. We were playing them, and we were beating them pretty good. But we weren't calling the dogs off. We were going after them. And the reason Jimmy said we did that is if you get lax in attacking the offense,
right,
they're going to make plays, and that's going to give them confidence. We don't want them to get confidence. And I think Cleveland became lax. Oh, we got this game. We got this done. And a lot of teams do that. Yeah. We're going to play prevent. Prevent means that it prevents you from winning. I'm going to get you. You can complain about that I'm scoring too much or blitzing too much. That's all right, because I'm not going to give you the opportunity to come back.
So, and that's a good point. I think, too, that you have to have a good mindset. You have to practice case scenarios and down and distance situation, what happened, what possibilities can happen in the football game. And I think these coaches now is not aware 10 to 20 years ago like they were back in the day.
I agree.
So I think it's a different style of philosophy of coaching. That's why these guys don't stay on the job long. That's why they change, you know, interchangeable with the coaches. You know, last year they had eight different job positions in the National Football League, you know, more than ever before. So you see constantly change. I know it's a revolution of offenses revolving around the game. But I just think, too, you still got to play good, hard, error-free football.
Yeah, and you're right. Everybody's into this analytical. It says you're supposed to do this, and they have all the things. But this is still human nature. Things happen in the game that analytics can't tell you about.
Yeah, so you're exactly right.
So, yeah, that was a good game. We're down to Atlanta and Los Angeles. This was kind of a shocking game because the Rams, Los Angeles Rams, had them pretty good, and Atlanta came back. Here's another team, like you said, you relax. And we always talk about Aaron Donald and the Rams defense. The Rams won, and I guaranteed they'd win, but they only won 31-27.
By 4 points. Now, the one thing that I can say about Atlanta and their coach, the head coach, is you have to play them hard. You just can't just say we're gonna win because we playing Atlanta this week. Yeah, and that's what they proved to me this week playing the Rams.
That's right.
You got to go in and you got to play error-free football in order to beat the Atlanta Falcons, because part of their problem is over there with the coach.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%. Also, do you know who the coach's father is?
The guy who owns
FedEx. Fred Smith.
Fred Smith. That's FedEx. And so his son is just he loves challenges. Yeah. And if you hear the story about him being a coach, his philosophy is being able to come in and be creative on how he can get that team into a winning position. And he loved the challenge.
And he learned that from his dad.
Yeah.
Because everybody told him that you can't take on the United Postal Service, and he did it.
With FedEx? Right. Hey, he done a great job. I tell you that.
Yeah, and Mariota's playing better than I thought he would.
Well, I just think sometimes you got to get around the right environment, right coaches.
Yeah.
You can't be listening to what the media say. You got to go in and be all in. I mean, you got to work, and that's why they have the OTAs. I think that is a part of you becoming complete and being confident of who you are and what you can bring. I'm glad for Atlanta to be competitive, and that's what you want.
Yeah. Now, Cooper Kupp is one of those. Do you think he's one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL right now, if not in the top 3?
No doubt. Yeah, just based off
He
of
is that good. He had 108 yards, but he's one of those guys. You know that he's gonna get the ball, but you can't really stop him.
You can't stop him. You can double him. What I love about the Rams is that they move him around. They know when they need it. He got to get the ball. He put the ball in his hand. He gonna make it happen. He done proved that. And if he can stay healthy, he can be a one-man wrecking crew.
Oh yeah, he can. I think Matthew Stafford's not healthy. That's just my opinion. And if Stafford gets healthy, then they'll get there. And their defense is not playing up to the levels they played in the past couple of years.
Yeah. Jalen Ramsey and some of those guys have got to get going. Yeah,
that's the interesting thing is Ramsey is not playing like one of the top corners anymore.
Well, one of the things he's been living on what he done in the past, but now players are challenging him, and I think too he wasn't quite in shape because he didn't play in the preseason game. So
yeah, you're right.
I'm thinking now, you got to catch up to make sure that you're ready to go from day one.
You're right. Now here's a team that came back to earth: Seattle and San Francisco. San Francisco, even with the injury to Trey Lance, who's out for the year, beat them 27-7.
Right.
And now they got Jimmy G, which is a genius keeping Jimmy G. Everybody thought they were crazy, but now it worked out in their favor to have Jimmy G on there. And Geno Smith basically came back to earth. He had 197 yards, but
Tyler Geno Smith had no touchdown, one interception, so you got to be consistently in making things happen as a quarterback. He looked good the first week against Denver, came back this week, shot crap. So that's not what the NFL is all about. You got to be able to throw some touchdowns. And even though he was 24-30, he got some good receivers.
Yeah.
So he don't have no excuse.
The one thing I noticed about San Francisco, and this proves it, is they had a running back called Jeff Wilson Jr. Have you ever heard of him?
I know Jeff Wilson. I know his dad.
Oh, you do? He's a Texas guy?
Yeah. Jeff was a tight end.
Well, Jeff Wilson is a running back for Junior, is a running back for San Francisco.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had 64 yards. He led them in rushing. And I thought that was interesting because San Francisco always finds these no-name guys that you never like. Who is that? And they play well for him. I mean, they lost another running back. So,
well, that's what's good about San Francisco in the past. They have always been able to reload and get some players that they're gonna get the job done. They got role players and they got good game type situation case scenario players to where they can go in there and fit the strategy that they're trying to have. And they've been consistent. That's one thing about San Francisco. They're gonna always be one team that's hard to beat.
Yeah. Now we got Houston and Denver, and Jason just texted me and asked me, was Denver the most disappointing team? But they beat Houston 16-9. That's been in the NFL because everybody thought Russell Wilson was going to light it up. They lost Asante Samuels Jr., and they lost Jerry Jeudy in the game to shoulder injuries.
Yeah.
But that's something to think about. Cortland Sutton had 122 yards, and Javonte Williams ran for 75. But I think this is a thing where having a young coach, and it's his first coaching job, just like we talked about with Bill Parcells situations. I don't think he might have been an offensive coordinator. He might have done these things, but he's not used to situations and teaching them about situations.
Yeah,
he's making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and when you're at home, you can't kick a field goal first quarter, second quarter, don't score nothing in the third quarter. Then they finally get it together in the fourth quarter. You can't do that against a team like David Menz and the Houston Texans. You can't do that.
Yes, you're right.
So they got a lot of work ahead of them because everybody talking about how good their defense was supposed to be and all that. That's why you have to play these games. You're not quite there. These teams are. You went to Seattle, you lost the first week, and now you're playing at home. Right now they're one of the disappointing teams in the league.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pick it up, but I think it's Hackett being. But his dad was a coach.
Yeah, exactly.
And he should be there helping them and should at least give them some input on being a head coach.
And what people got to understand, these guys come from some coaching caravan.
Yeah,
they coming from they played. Like the coach for the Minnesota Vikings, he played. So you don't have no excuses now. When they give you these jobs, you better be ready to go.
That's exactly right. And Houston is playing better actually than I thought they would. I know they're 0-1-1.
They're competitive.
0-1, yeah, but they're competitive, and I never anticipated that.
Exactly.
Here's another game that was a shocking game. And this is your guy, Arizona against Las Vegas, at Las Vegas. Arizona won it in overtime, 29-23.
Yep.
It should have never got to overtime. And then in overtime, there was a questionable call. Byron Murphy picks it up, and he drops the ball before he goes over the goal line.
No, it showed that he was over the goal line.
Oh, come on, man. And then Kyler Murray on that 2-point play, they got tired. There you were talking about preseason. Did you see the offensive line, defensive lineman?
Yeah.
He was just standing there.
But let me tell you something. I have seen Kyler Murray do this time and time again. You cannot let him roam around that backfield in that secondary. And then you got to give him credit. That was a hell of a throw.
Yeah, it was a heck of a throw. But
AJ Green.
Who's rushing the quarterback? They had nobody rushing the quarterback. They were all tired.
Well, that's why you got to be in shape.
Yeah, that is, and they're going to talk about the offense, but in my opinion, the problem is their defense right now. Their defense is letting them down. I thought that their defense was going to be better because they got Chandler Jones and they got the other kid on the other side, and I thought their defense was going to be better, and their defense is not playing well. That is bad.
I think there's too many lights over there in Vegas, so maybe
You think so?
I don't know, man. It's got to be something about that, man, because I thought coming out of preseason that the Raiders would be more fine-tuned and ready to go.
Too.
I really did.
Too. I did too.
Now. They're 0-2.
Yeah, they're 0-2. There's another team. Jason, you were talking about a disappointing team. I think the Raiders are even more disappointing than Denver, to my opinion. Is there more
and the way they played coming out of last season and making it, and and playing as good as they played at the end of the season, I thought they had momentum getting ready for this season.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with it. And Chicago against Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers. Back Aaron Jones ran for 132 yards. Rodgers threw for 234. And a blast from the past, Sammy Watkins, 93 yards reception. So
yeah.
So they got back on track. And that's like you told me. And Jason, you hear this too. Minnesota was at home. They played well. Green Bay was at home. I don't know if these teams are as good as they are supposedly be, even with Aaron Rodgers. I think what happens is they get home and get a little bit of home cooking.
They and Green Bay is good at home cooking. That's for sure. Yeah. They probably won more games at home than any other team in the National Football League.
Because getting to Lambeau Field is like going back in time.
It's just something about the era, the environment, the people in the stands, the cheeseheads.
Yeah, you got to go all through Appleton. You stay in these old places. I remember that.
I remember when I got drafted by Green Bay. I went to the mall one day and say, "Which Packer are you?" I said, "I'm one of these new Packers."
Oh my goodness! Yeah, it is a step back in time when you go to Green Bay, Wisconsin.
But you got to love it. You know, you ride the bike to practice. You know, everybody carrying your helmet. You know, everybody's all in. It's community-owned team. You know, it's just a lot of fun. You know, you eating cheese, full of getting that milk. I mean, you just can't beat it.
No. But Jason brings up a good point. He's texting me. Packers and Tampa Bay play this week. Tampa Bay is getting beat up.
Tampa Bay got a lot of injuries too.
Yeah, but they got Tom Brady.
Well,
they're always in it.
This is what gonna be exciting. It's gonna be Brady against Rodgers.
Yeah.
So we gonna see who gonna have a better game. Whoever had a better game gonna win it.
That's true. That is true. But that's gonna be a good game, and I think it's in Green Bay. I think so. Yeah,
I think it is.
So let's get to those night games. Tennessee and Buffalo. Buffalo came out. Shoot, I told somebody it is hard to play in Western New York.
Well, you know
Western New York.
I'm telling you, and you know my fantasy receiver, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
You might want to just go ahead and say
it's going to be a little tougher this week when they play Miami.
No, we don't care about Miami. I'm telling you, Buffalo is great now. They're hitting all cylinders.
They are hitting there. They're doing it. And what was that name of that running back they used to have? They used to kill people and stiff arm them.
For Buffalo?
Playing for Tennessee. Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Shoot, he getting stiff arm now. I ain't never seen him get. Micah Hyde knocked him out.
I think he got 51 yards this past weekend.
Yeah, he had 51 yards.
Wow.
So I think that's there. Stephon Diggs had 148 yards.
Fantasy points, baby. Fantasy points.
Yeah.
I got to get on my fantasy. I got to go check everything out, man. I've been all over the place.
Yeah. The last game of the day was Minnesota and Philadelphia. And
yeah. 24-7.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts had 333 yards. He played really well. Miles Sanders ran for 80 yards. Dallas Goedert was the leading receiver with 82. They're hitting on all cylinders too.
Yeah.
And they're playing. I think Jalen Hurts is doing a good job of managing that team.
Yeah. And your boy Kirk Cousins, three INTs.
Yes.
He threw the ball 46 times, 27 and 46. And I tell you nothing, Darren Cooks.
Yeah.
6 carries for 17 yards. That ain't gonna cook. That ain't gonna cook it. That ain't cooking
that's
nothing.
What I said. Yeah, and that's it. And he's on my fantasy team. He's about to get benched, but
hey, as soon as you bench, he gonna come out.
I know that's what I'm scared of because they play. Let me see who they play this weekend. They give up the most yards. The Lions. The Lions give up the most yards on the ground.
Yeah,
so
I'm
gonna keep them up there. I looked it up today.
Yeah. You know, the Lions just want to play some exciting football. I don't know if they ever have a strategy plan on the defensive side because everybody putting up points on the lines.
Yeah, but they're scoring enough points. So
yeah.
So real quick, we don't have 6 minutes, but Pittsburgh
6 minutes. Huh?
You got Pittsburgh and Cleveland Thursday night.
Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Well, Cleveland playing at home. I'm taking the Browns.
I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh.
I'm taking
Houston at Chicago.
Oh man, Houston at Chicago. I'm going with Chicago because they scored 10 points against Green Bay, and they hadn't played a full game yet. So I'm taking the Bears.
I'm gonna go with Houston. Las Vegas at Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I might have to go with Tennessee.
But check this out. It's going to look real bad for the Raiders 0-3.
Yeah. Kansas City at Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah. You know, Kansas City going to put up 48 points. They going to put up 48 points.
They look at their chops.
Hey, Kelsey was at his brother's game drinking beer. You know, he gonna have 3 touchdowns this week.
Oh, my goodness. Buffalo at Miami.
I'm going with Buffalo.
I'm going with Rough Buff. It's going to be a tough game in Miami, but I'm going to go with Rough Buff.
Yeah.
Detroit at Minnesota.
Minnesota got to win this one.
You think
Last week I took Detroit, but Minnesota, they got to have a revenge moment, and this is gonna be their revenge.
Detroit. I'm gonna go with Detroit. We disagree. Baltimore and New England.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I got Baltimore too.
Baltimore.
Yeah, Cincinnati at the New York Jets.
Cincinnati.
They gotta win.
They 0-2.
If they don't win, they got problems.
And you know the stats about teams that start 0-2, they never reach the Super Bowl. They never
We won a Super Bowl starting 0-2.
What year was that?
The second year that we won.
Yeah, that was a rarity. There ain't too many teams that have done it.
Rarity.
Yeah.
Okay, Philadelphia at Washington.
I'm going with Philadelphia.
No brainer on that one. I think Philly will win it too. New Orleans at Carolina. This is an interesting one because Matt Golden Rule might be in trouble, and they don't look good.
Well, they back against the wall. I'm going to take Carolina this week.
I'm going to take Carolina too. Los Angeles, I think it's Los Angeles Rams at Arizona.
I'm going with Arizona.
I'm going to go with Los Angeles, but it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I'm going
because Aaron Donald's in the game, and all you got to do is look at Kyler Murray, and it's over.
Well, this gonna be Kyler Murray game to put up 400 yards.
Okay, he won't get that chance he got in Vegas.
We'll see.
Caleb Cranberry might be a little bit on the hot seat.
We'll
Jacksonville at the Los Angeles Chargers. This is going to be a heck of a game.
I'm going with the Chargers.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I like Trevor Lawrence and what they're doing. Atlanta at Seattle, another interesting game.
I'm going with the Falcons.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Falcons too. Okay, Green Bay at Tampa Bay.
I'm taking Green Bay.
Wow. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
Good.
San Francisco at Denver.
I'm going with Denver.
Okay. And then we got actually you're right. Dallas at New York on Sunday night.
The Giants 21. The Giants 21, Dallas 20.
Dallas 24, Giants 20.
We'll see.
All right. We got a iced tea on it. We got an iced tea bet.
That's it. I love iced tea.
Oh man, there's some good games again this week.
Yeah.
We just got to keep going, and hey, we keep telling you how we see it. You're getting something that you don't get on a lot of stations. We're gonna give you the opportunity to see it. The only thing we never want to see is Byron dance. He never could.
I'm trying to get the Waller dance.
After last week, everybody was waddling.
171 yards, baby.
Yeah, you're right. So, hey, this is the fun time of year. There's still 15 more games to go. After this week, there'll only be 14. And it's a while before we see the teams that are going to rise and the teams that are going to fall.
This year ain't too many teams 0-2, but the teams that 0-2 like the Raiders, you can see they're getting ready to turn that thing around. So it's going to be some exciting football.
Yeah, it's going to be some really exciting football. Hey, we want you to stay with us, enjoy it, and make sure that you watch our shows because, hey, we're going to have fun with it. We're going to have fun.
We talking shop.
We got only about 1 minute left. Hey, we are talking shop. So get ready.
I tell you what, footballs are in the air, and I'm telling you, we are going to see who's going to win that NFC East. And I told you before, ain't no team won it back-to-back, so the Cowboys are out. We know the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East.
Hey, it's almost time to go. We only got 7 seconds. How about them Cowboys?
Not making it this year to the playoffs. Yeah, baby.
All right. Hey, it was great having everybody. And okay, we'd love to have you.
Enjoyed it.
All right, Byron.
Okay.
See you next week.
All right.